Hello, all you Peter Criss fans out there, and welcome to my media museum. My name is Will, and today we're going to be looking at the 4 out of 5 Peter Criss CDs that I own. And starting off with 1978's solo album. Of course, he was still a member with Kiss at this time, and they all put albums out. And Peter's was the least selling of them all. Not too many credits here to be seen, but this album was not exactly what the majority of Kiss fans were wanting to hear from Peter. Bless him for doing what he wanted to do. He made the album that he wanted to make, the music that he wanted to play. It just paled in comparison to the other members' releases. And I realize this video is probably going to be watched by a lot of Peter Criss fans. It might take offense to that, but facts are facts. I'm just being honest here. I loved Gene's and Ace's. I wasn't such a big fan of Paul's either, but it was good. It had some good quality work on there. Peter's had some good songs on it as well. You notice all three of the members dedicated their solo albums to the other three members of Kiss. Peter was the only one who added an extra credit there. This Michael Benvenga, or Vega, he was an individual who played with Peter Criss in a band called Chelsea. In 1970, they had one release, and he also played with him in a band called Lips in 1971, but they did not record or release anything. Some of the songs from those sessions, though, actually made it onto this release here, and that is probably why Peter was crediting him with a thank you, at least. But looking at the tracks here, we've got I'm Gonna Love You, You Matter to Me, Tossin' and Turnin', Don't You Let Me Down, That's the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes, Easy Thing, Rock Me Baby, Kiss the Girl Goodbye, Hooked on Rock and Roll, and I Can't Stop the Rain. Now track number 4, Don't You Let Me Down, that was the first 45 release, and he was the only one that got a second 45 release, and it was probably because of the low sales of the album compared to the other three. So they released track 2, You Matter to Me, as the second 45 to come off of it. Now, tracks 1, I'm Gonna Love You, 4, Don't You Let Me Down, 5, That's the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes, and 9, Hooked on Rock and Roll, were the 4 tracks that were originally Lips songs from 1971 that he recorded for his solo here. Number 3, Tossin' and Turnin', that was actually a cover by Bobby Lewis that hit number 1 in 1961. So maybe he originally intended that to be a single. Who knows? But it's kind of surprising that that one didn't make it to a single that tracks 2 and 4 did instead. So anyways, that pretty well covers the Kiss solo Peter Criss album. And so after leaving Kiss in 1980, we got Out of Control. Now this CD, at the time that I bought it, I walked into a store and I got this one and the next one at the same time in the same shop, and I was surprised to come across them. Had never seen a copy on CD before, so it's rather uncommon, I would say. And when I looked them up, when I came home after buying them and looking them up, they were going for a ridiculous amount of money. So I have not looked them up recently. I have no idea how valuable they are or are not at this point in time. But I'm glad to have them in my collection. I am a pretty sizable Kiss fan. So to have this release in my collection is really nice. He's got a nice credit there too to my lovely wife Deborah Criss. Now I'm not sure if that's the same one that he wrote Beth for, because I thought her name was Rebecca and the original demo was Beck, I hear you calling, but it was changed to Beth. So I'm not sure, he might have remarried at this point and was dedicating his album to another wife. Sorry, I didn't look that up. I don't have the facts on that. But here's a copy of the CD itself. I didn't think a whole lot about Peter after he left Criss after he left Kiss. Being that he was, my least favorite member of the band. And that doesn't mean I disliked him. I liked Peter. I loved his voice. He had a very rough, growly voice. 100,000 Years, Hard Luck Woman, a lot of songs that he did with Kiss. His vocals were very, very fitting for the songs. But here we've got Be Myself, In Trouble Again, Where Will They Run, I Found Love, There's Nothing Better, Out of Control, Words, You Better Run, My Life, and Feel Like Letting Go. So that covers, and you can see the credits there, 1980. So the second album that he released after leaving Kiss, and like I said, I bought that same day in that same shop. I heard these albums, not this one. I heard the first one, Out of Control, back when it came out. I had a friend that did buy it, and I heard it at that point in time. But I'd never heard this one before, from 1982. And here you at least got a pretty decent shot of his face without the makeup on. For those who are curious, we'll get a better shot here in just a minute. But looking at the track listing here, we'll read it off this time instead of up on the back where we get that glare reflection off of the camera. But Let It Go, Tears, Move On, Jealous Guy. You'll notice that is the John Lennon song. He did a cover of Jealous Guy from John Lennon. That's pretty cool. Destiny, Some Kind of Hurricane, Let Me Rock You, First Day in the Rain, Feel Like Heaven, and Bad Boys. So it's interesting also to note that Feel Like Heaven was written by Gene Simmons. So there wasn't total bad blood between him and the band. I mean, he'd been out of Kiss for a couple of years here, and Gene Simmons still helped contribute to his solo album. So, there's been lots of things said over the years. Sometimes I think it's just for the sake of publicity. But they all kissed and made up for Unplugged. So, it wasn't all bad. And then they toured again for a while with the reunion tour. So I think it was more an issue of Peter's abilities had diminished. He was in a car wreck. I want to say it was around 79. But it was before the recording sessions for Dynasty that he was in a car wreck, and it hurt his hand, and it affected his drumming. So I think it was just a matter of abilities that led to him being, because he was let go from Kiss after the reunion. He stayed after Ace left. Ace left before him because he played on a live 4 with Bruce Kulick. Or was it? Yeah, not Bruce Kulick, it was Tommy Thayer, excuse me. Let me correct myself right there on the fly. But there's a great shot of him right there if you've never actually seen a good shot of him without makeup on. And here's the disc itself, which is kind of interesting. It's got a real pink tint. Good luck trying to read that. It's really hard to read that pink, red on pink. And the back cover actually has the same photo that we were just looking at a minute ago while I was rambling on, and we've already read the track listing. Not as much glare, thankfully, on this, but I'm still glad I read them off the inside. And you can see the credits there, 1982. So, moving on, we make a jump from 82 all the way to 1994 before we got Criss Cat 1. And Peter Criss designed this logo. It credits on the inside of the sleeve. Never seen it before, but it is kind of neat in its own way. And I did read somewhere that it was his idea to show both sides, the Kiss side and the non-Kiss side. You'll notice the makeup's a little bit different. And probably that was because he didn't want to get sued by Kiss. But if you go back and you look at the Kiss makeup itself, it is different. The stripes are different. I mean, very similar here, but it is different, okay? Not the exact same. So, you'll notice it says special guest Ace Frehley, and we're going to get into that here in just a minute. This is one of those big, long, fold-out ones. We've got all the lyrics here, which we're not going to look at because you can look them up online and read them anytime you want these days. Wonderful thing about the internet, you know. We do have a wealth of information at our hands that we did not have available to us back in the day. Nice, big, beautiful credit to God there. So, flipping it over, we've got how to join the Cats Club. And there's the information right there. Don't know if it's still viable or not, but feel free to use it if you want to join his fan club. And here's some more credits here. But you'll notice it tells you Ace Frehley lead guitar and has some other additional players, guests, that appear on the album. But it doesn't tell you what Ace played on. I had to look that all up on the internet to find out because, you know, I wanted to know. And there again, as I said before, thank God for the internet for a wealth of information that you can get about musical releases and stuff like that. So, going over the track list here, we've got Bad Attitude, which has Ace Frehley on guitars. Walk the Line, which also has Ace Frehley playing guitars on. The Truth, Bad People Burn in Hell, Show Me, Good Times, Strike, Blue Moon Over Brooklyn, which is the third and final track that Ace Frehley contributed to. Ace Frehley, did I say Frehley or Frehley? Because I said Frehley for years before getting it corrected right to Frehley. Down with the Sun, We Want You, and a re-recording of Beth that he did that is a little bit different. Kind of interesting to hear. Next up, it wouldn't surprise me if he did that re-recording of Beth because of Kiss, you know, having Eric Carr redo the vocals on the version for their Greatest Hits album. I think it was Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits. Now you can't really read they're there, but they're just hard to see unless you get it in the right light, just right. Alrighty, and there's the back cover for you, which we already ran over, and you've already seen me a couple of times, so I hope you enjoyed that overview of the Peter Criss CD releases. He did have one called One for All that was released in 2007. I never did pick that up, so I don't have a copy of that one to share with you. So, have a great day. Keep on rocking.